review special with my colleague Dirk from The Naked Truth. Okay, hi Dirk, how are you getting on?
I'm good, Martin. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm very good. So we're going to talk about the movies of Michael Mann today. Michael Mann, the famous man, of course, who did the Miami Vice in the 1980s, producer anyway. And we wanted to talk about two of his movies in particular, Collateral, and we want to talk about Heat.
Heat, yeah. Two of my favorite movies, anyhow. So, but yeah, and Heat, just our background there is both scenes from Heat, and one is with Charlize Theron and Michael Mann. The other one is, I think it's Robert De Niro and Michael Mann. So yeah,
the famous scene at the diner, yeah, in the restaurant.
Yeah, that's in Heat. The movie was special. Well, it was meant to be special because it was the first time that Robert De Niro and Al Pacino were in a scene together. That hadn't happened before. Now, I liked the movie, but I was a bit disappointed with that particular scene because you can't really see them together as such. They're still you see either Robert De Niro's backside or Al Pacino's backside. I don't mean the bottom backside, but the backside. So you still don't really see them together at any stage. But you can see them in the bar and the restaurant together, but it's not actually. You can't really see them. That could have been put in there as well. But that's how it was kind of sold as well at the time. It was the first movie with Robert De Niro and Al Pacino in one scene. So yeah.
That's right, like, because I know, like, the two of them were in The Godfather together, like.
Yeah.
Funny one, like in Godfather 2, like Robert De Niro is Al Pacino's father.
Yeah, but we're never in any scenes together in that one either. So
right,
yeah.
But yeah, like, we'll go back to Heat in a minute, like, but even Collateral, I was just rewatching it on Netflix the other day. I was watching it, like, you got Tom Cruise playing Vincent and Jamie Foxx playing Max. And, they're just going around. He's a hitman, Tom Cruise, going around doing his tour of duty at nighttime in a taxi.
Yeah.
But I think it's a really good film. Like, I mean, it's like the night scenes, like, it's all mostly shot at nighttime, which is kind of different anyway, What did you like about that movie? Did you like the style? Like, do you like the way it was played out? Or?
Yeah, and it's just the fact that Tom Cruise plays a baddie as well. He doesn't play that. Like, I don't think there's any other movies where he actually plays a baddie as such. And he looks different as well, even though it's Tom Cruise, but his gray hair. They made him look a bit old as well. But there's so many subtle things in that movie. But that seems to be a hallmark kind of thing for Michael Mann anyhow. But I like movies for particular scenes, and what I like about this one, Collateral, is the scene where Jamie Foxx tells Tom Cruise about his mother is in hospital and hasn't visited her yet, and Tom Cruise gives out to him, so you have to visit your mother in hospital.
Yeah.
So they actually buy her flowers in the mean between two hits. He's doing this, like between two killings.
Yeah.
So they go to hospital, and Tom Cruise actually buys the flowers and gives it to Jamie Foxx's mother. But I was thinking about it. That looks like a kind of nice scene, but it's also very menacing in a way, because Tom Cruise plays a hitman, even though he's a very charming man. But it is menacing because you know as well that he knows now where Jamie Foxx's mother is. Anything goes wrong, you don't know what he would do to the lady. So it's kind of subtle, but it's very menacing, and I really like that bit of the movie as well. So it's great to see that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, you got Jada Pinkett as well in the film.
Yeah,
like, it's playing out a thriller, but at the same time, it's kind of like it's kind of like it's about Jamie Foxx and the lawyer, the woman as well.
Yeah,
I mean, Tom Cruise is pushing that as well. He's pushing him towards that woman, telling him to get with this woman.
Yeah,
He wants to start a limo business, and then go and go to one of these islands, these tropical islands. That's his kind of dream. He keeps wanting to do that, and
yeah.
that's interesting as well, because I mean, you got Mark Ruffalo as well. That's the first time we really saw him, that actor, the detective, you know, going around after them. You know what I mean?
Another great actor, by the way, as well. Yeah.
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 I
But that's what I liked about it, because it's more like a play when you think of it. It could have been a Shakespearean play, really, the whole movie, because there's not that many characters in it. There's about 4 or 5 really in it, and it's very atmospheric. But that seems to be a Michael Mann thing as well. It's very atmospheric, long shots, long scenes as well, and often he likes neon as well. There's quite a bit of neon lights in that movie as well, and I think it's very stylish. It's very well done, very well shot, and it's basically, if you like a kind of tense thriller, but without causing you a heart attack nearly because it's so tense. This is the perfect movie, because it plays very slow, and it's nothing. There's not that much action in it, but yet, you know, it's, as I said, it's kind of menacing in a way, and you never know what's going to happen, because you never know what Tom Cruise is as a character, because at the end of the day, he is a hitman, he's a killer, and he's quite cold-blooded as well, even though he can be very charming as well. And I think it's nearly like a Shakespeare play, really, the whole movie.
Yeah, I mean, like a lot of these movies, not all of them, like people have to change. I mean, like it'd be boring if this person is the same from the start of the movie to the end of the movie. Like even like when Tom Cruise, Jamie Foxx gets his suitcase and throws it away, like he's got to go into that nightclub and meet one of these kind of hitman type guys. You know what I mean? To get the numbers, get the rest of the names for the hit job. Like, I mean, I used to go in there. Like, I mean, that's kind of a brave. For Jamie Foxx has to be brave in doing that, like, and I mean, even calling the woman, like, towards the end of the movie when she's in the high building in the apartment, in the high-rise building, you know.
Yeah.
And there's some like nice suspense there, like, and especially when you see her on one floor and Tom Cruise on another floor, you know. There's kind of nice visual suspense there, you know. It's very good. Like, I mean, like before that, like, I mean, I was just watching. I know we'd seen last week, like, he was making movies in the early 1980s. With Manhunter. Yeah. So around that time, you got all that kind of, you see it everywhere now, like people wearing like T-shirts and like suit jackets. But you know, like you had Miami Vice guys doing that, Don Johnson, you know, wearing that kind of outfit.
Yeah. But he likes stylized kind of movies, even with Heat. They're all very stylish as well. I have to say, I like Miami Vice, the series. It's one of my favorite all-time TV shows. I didn't like the movie, though. It's also Jamie Foxx and Colin Farrell. To me, it lacked something. I don't know what it was. Maybe my expectations were too high, because the show is fantastic. It's very glamorous, very stylish, and yet it is also quite black as well, quite dark, really, when you think of it, because it's about drugs and vice and stuff like that. So, but the movie didn't do it for me. It's just it missed the trick. I think maybe it's better for people who have never seen the TV show. Maybe that's they might enjoy it, but to me it didn't work out, which is strange, because in general I do like all Michael Mann's movies. Now, I haven't seen the last 2, but before that I've seen them all, and I do like them. I like them a lot. No, funny you should mention Manhunter. That would have been a great cinema movie. It was made for TV, but it would have been a great cinema movie if he had changed the music a small bit. If he would have used maybe classical music instead of the heavy 80s kind of synth pop kind of music, because it didn't really it dated quite a bit, that movie, because I saw it recently again. I thought, well, it's not, if it wasn't for the music, it would have been a masterpiece, but it kind of took it from it. Having said that, though, the remake of it, Red Dragon, still doesn't even come close to Manhunter. And again, there's the subtlety of Michael Mann. There's a scene in Manhunter on the plane. You probably know which one I want to talk about, where he's going to the files and he kind of falls asleep. and he wakes up, and there's a kid next to him in
That's right,
panic,
yeah.
in panic, because he had just seen the files, and you see the graphic pictures in the files. No, that was not in Red Dragon. It was kind of edited, which I found a bit strange. To me, that made the movie Manhunt for me, really, that particular scene, that kind of, whoa. I mean, but that was taken away in Red Dragon. That kind of ruined the movie for me in that way as well. So, which I find kind of found strange. So.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I've seen some of the movies. Like I've seen some of these other movies too, like The Last of the Mohicans with Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah.
Like I've seen the Insider. I like the Insider with Al Pacino and Russell Crowe. I like that, but the cigarettes, about.
It was a great movie, yeah.
Yeah, that was very good. And yeah, I mean, there's other movies. I haven't seen Ali. I haven't seen that movie with Will Smith. But Will Smith put on weight, and he was playing against Muhammad Ali, playing in the role. I mean, like have you seen his recent movie? You haven't seen the one Black Hat? Black Hat was it Chris Hemsworth?
No, I haven't. That's something is on my list to watch, but I haven't seen. I've heard it's good though.
Yeah,
I haven't seen the myself yet, but yeah.
But Heat now, go back to Heat. Like, I mean, I like the cast of Heat is sensational. Even before but even like Val Kilmer, like I think he's always an underrated actor, Val Kilmer, and he's in it, and you had Tom Sizemore as well. And I mean, there's that. I mean, like even that scene, I like the scene in the kind of restaurant there, like when one of the team like messes up, like he meets him like in the restaurant, and De Niro, you got to pay him off, like he gets away, the guy, one of their team, but because he starts shooting guns, but
yeah, it was a bit crazy.
Yeah, geez. But no, I like I said to you, like I was saying to you on one of the posts as well. I like one of the actresses in the film there, like the actress behind you, she's in. Yeah.
Charlize Theron, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, do you know what I mean? And
she plays Val Kilmer's wife or girlfriend, and again, coming to subtle scenes in the movie. In Heat, there's one, and this is not a spoiler because you can still watch the movie for those who haven't seen it, or why they haven't seen it, I don't know. But there's this scene where Val Kilmer wants to come home, and the FBI or the police are actually in the apartment, and it was Al Pacino was the cop, and he's in the apartment with Charlize Theron, and she's looking out the window and she sees Val Kilmer coming home, and just the eyes, she's going like with her eyes tell him not to come in, to keep moving, and he just keeps driving.
That's right. I remember that, yeah.
I think a lot of people would have missed that because it's quite subtle, but to me that kind of makes a movie. Those kind of little moments where they could have just zoomed out and he just could have driven off, but just that bit that she is, because all along that she is very against what he is doing, but yet she is protective of him there. She doesn't want him to be arrested, and just the eyes, it just kind of he looks at her and the eyes move away, and he knows that I have to go on. And I think it's a fantastic scene in the movie, just subtle.
Yeah. I know, like they both have complicated lives. I mean, like Al Pacino and Robert De Niro in the film as well. Like I mean, but that's what they get talking about at the restaurant scene. But just like it's they both could be the same person if they have different lives. Like
exactly.
People like cops and criminals could be the same. There's the same intensity to do the job. And. Yeah, like I mean, I think Pacino's telling them in the film, like I spend my time chasing guys like you,
Yeah. The one thing I don't understand though, and it's nothing to do with the movie, but the way sometimes it's sold as a Western, and I don't get that. Even when you look at IMDb, I think it's mentioned. They mention it as a Western. To me, that makes no sense. Well, in a way I can see, because like more or less a sheriff going after a bad guy, really, that's what it is, but it's so much more complicated. But to me, it's call that movie a Western is doing it a bit
Oh yeah,
disservice, really.
they say that about movies, like it's kind of a cool thing to say, but it's like they say that about Mad Max as well. Mad Max is a Western, you know what I mean? And,
Yeah.
I mean, I know what they mean. Like, I mean, some of the genres have faded away, like, and they just want to call it, you know, a modern genre. Just it's kind of a way of saying it. Sometimes they can be right, like, but the Heat, like, what's kind of different is, yeah, it's a group of guys though against, I guess it's a group of guys, whatever you want to call them, good guys against a group of bad guys. Yeah, I forget now. Yeah, I think there's some guys in it. I see from some other movies as well. Some of Al Pacino's team, like, you know, and yeah. I mean, I think when they go on one of the raids or something and they're late or something, like these guys are professionals. You know what I mean? Like Al Pacino and you said saying about De Niro's crew.
Yeah. Because there's a shootout as well, and that's probably maybe that's why they kind of ran that, because it's like it's in a way it's nearly like how you call it, the shootout at OK Corral Tombstone. It is that kind of thing, but just to base it on that scene, as I call it the Western, to me it does the movie justice, because it's much more than that. In a way, it's also kind of a romantic movie, because Robert De Niro finds he finds a girl he likes, but he tells his own crew, if you can't walk away from it in 30 seconds, don't go into it. So it's, even with relationships, if you can't walk away from it in 30 seconds or whatever, 30 minutes, don't do it. And yet he falls for this lady, and I think it's the art gallery or something she works. And but he kind of, that's in a way that's becomes his downfall a small bit as well, I think, because that's where he kind of that's his Achilles heel, so to speak. Yeah,
I mean, in that lady in the movie, her name is Amy Brennerman, and she was in another movie with, funny enough, William Peterson, the guy from Manhunter, called Fear with Mark Wahlberg. You know, like, I didn't know that till a while back, because I saw that movie Fear with Mark Wahlberg, and Reese Witherspoon as well was in the movie. Yeah. But that actor William Peterson, I know from Manhunter, but jumping back, was still Michael Mann anyway. Like he could have been a bigger actor. He could have been a bigger star. I know we all know him now, like a CSI.
Yeah.
You know, Bishop. But I think at the time he didn't want to be a bigger star, you know. But he could have been, because there's another movie as well, you know, To Live and Die in L.A. directed by William Friedkin. You know, he, like, those two movies and Manhunter, like, he could have went on to being a big star because he had a presence. He was just good in the roles. You know what I mean?
No, he's a good actor, and that's why I find it strange as well. Why he never did anything more really big on a bigger scale. I mean, he's done a lot of TV stuff, all right, but mainly CSI, as you said. But he's finished with that as well now. So I don't even know what he's doing at the moment. Probably nothing. Probably retired.
No, I'm not sure. Like, but like, that was just Michael Mann. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, himself and Ridley Scott were seen as these stylish directors. You know what I mean? And, they're asking Ridley Scott, like, why is it always raining in your movies? Because I effing want it that way. You know what I mean? He said he grew up in the north of England. It was always dark and raining, and so that's why he put that in these movies. In Blade Runner, you know. Yeah. But I mean, he's seen as one of those directors as well. I mean, like, I actually like his brother's movies better. Like, you know, more better like than his, even like Tony Scott. Like,
Tony Scott,
he's like, I like this style as well. But you know, the Michael Mann, I mean, he's another guy. Like, I mean, but see, a lot of these guys who are stylish directors, they say that it's all style and no substance. Like they used to say the same about Alfred Hitchcock. You know what I mean? But Hitchcock was saying, like, you have to understand with Hitchcock, you would understand the plot. Like if you're watching his movie, you know what I mean, you understand what's happening. But like, some of these movies, they're so complicated nowadays. They're all like special effects, you know. I mean, something like Spielberg can give you like a story and special effects, you know, but they're not all like that, like, you know.
No, but I think there's quite a bit of substance in Michael Mann movies, though. For instance, Collateral. As I said, it changed the characters a small bit, by a few centuries, and it's a William Shakespeare play. So there's quite a bit of, the same can be said by Heat, by the way. It could be seen as a play in a way as well, because, well, there's more characters in there than there's in Collateral, but yet it's more like, it's nearly like Macbeth or something like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Because you say like Val Kilmer and his wife, and you got like Robert De Niro, and I mean you have even Al Pacino and his wife and the daughter, Natalie Portman. And she, like, she in the movie as well, and I mean there's stuff going on there as well, like what, like, and
and it's all people living their own lives, and yet it comes together in one story, and that's what makes such a compelling movie, both of them, to watch. And in general, most of Michael Mann's movies, even the last Mohicans with what's his name?
Daniel Day-Lewis. Daniel
Day-Lewis. It's one, because there've been several versions of the last Mohicans from the 30s onwards, but I think his one is probably the best one. Again, it's very stylish, and yet there's violence in it as well, but not so much, not so violent that is hard to watch. You can see it suits the storyline as well, but it's not like, oh, it's in your face. It's kind of, you're getting ready for it. It's a menacing in a way, but you're getting ready for it. You know what's happening, and I like that. But yeah, as you said, Ridley Scott, he likes rain in his movies, or water anyhow.
Yeah.
But I noticed now with Michael Mann, he likes a lot of neon, which a lot of light. He likes, and night. He likes to shoot at nighttime. I think he's mentioned earlier, he does a lot of night shoots where he can use a lot of light, like not daylight but artificial light, like neon light or street lights. That's his thing. I think he likes to work with those kind of props, I suppose.
Yeah, like Dirk, there's another director nowadays. I don't know. He's kind of following the two of them. Nicholas Riffin Winding. Do you know that guy? He directed Drive and a lot of those kind of Bronson, Drive, Neon Demon. Is it?
Yeah.
He's all them. Like there's a few of those kind of directors like making movies like they are like. But as I say, like with Michael Mann, like there is a story as well. Like it's not just. Like neon and special effects, and but I mean, I'm just trying to think. There's two early movies. Like he started off in the 1980s. Michael Mann, he made a movie with James Caan, but the second movie is interesting. I must watch the second movie he made. It's a supernatural thriller made in World War II. In his second movie, you know, and I think it's made in Romania, or it's based in Romania, and it's a World War II story, so I must see that one. But I haven't seen Ali, or I haven't seen Black Hat. I have to see those kind of two movies. And he hasn't really made a movie now in a little while. I think Black Hat was about 4 or 5, 6 years ago now.
Yeah, 2015, I think, was the last one.
Yeah, that was Chris Hemsworth, like, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he's done well for himself now. Like, do you know what I mean? He was an Australian TV actor. Like, he's a big star now. Sure, he's Thor in the Marvel series. But so you reckon like Michael Mann is like one of your favorite film directors, anyway? Yeah.
Yeah, yes, because again, because it's not. So he wants to make a movie just to entertain people. They always have good stories, but it's not like, oh yeah, it's going to be too arty. You have to think about what are the other meanings behind it. It's just a story he's telling through the movie, and there's no hidden agenda. But sometimes you have these movies that they want to do too much, and they throw too much at it. They lose the plot. There could be 6, 7, 8, 9 plots going at one time. He doesn't have that. There's quite a few plots in it, but they tie in, and it always makes sense how they tie in. And he does that by using the subtle scenes, as I mentioned earlier. Even with the Collateral, I'm not going to say the end, but there's an end scene in the train, I'm not going to say what happens in the train because that takes away if people haven't seen the movie.
Of course, yeah.
But there is a reference to that particular scene earlier in the movie.
That's true, yeah.
By Tom Cruise, and then at the end, he talked about that. And so you kind of feel happy for the man in a way, even though it's not the greatest thing that happens to him, but and I think that's but that's what I like about as well with Tom Cruise. You kind of you're rooting for him, but also you think, well, hey, hang on, this is a bad guy, like, you know. So you want him to get away with it, but also you don't want him to get away with it. You want him to get caught or something like that. But it's the same with Heat. You kind of feel for everyone in the movie. You kind of feel you can put yourselves in their shoes, and I think that's very powerful if you can do that with a movie. Because I've seen movies where you really couldn't care less about any of them. If anyone would be killed off, so go ahead. And there's too many of them, especially some of the newer movies. Really, I forget someone. See, that's the thing with those movies. I even forget the titles because they don't stick. They really don't stick there. But there's so many. Recently I've seen a few, and I thought, well, I don't really care what happened. What happens to these people? I don't. If they got swallowed by Earth or got abducted by whatever it is, I do not care for any of them. It's not with Michael Mann movie. You always care for all of them, and you can always see the point of view, and you always know what needs to happen with them or what they need to do to get it happen. And you can always feel the dilemma, what they have as well, because you can see, how would I react? So, and that's what I like about that. No, again, as I said, I didn't have that with the movie Miami Vice. I missed that. Like that's like one of those movies where I really didn't care what happened to any of them in the movie.
Yeah, I mean, I saw that movie in New Zealand. I was in New Zealand and at the time in Wellington, and it was just one of those movies like. I was okay to watch, like, but it was not really. As you say, I didn't really care too much about it. Like, I don't know. People they look the part, the lads. Like, I mean, Colin Farrell. See, I'm after watching Colin Farrell in another movie the other day. What's it called? Total Recall, the remake, and it's not as good. Like, you know, Schwarzenegger is his own person, and. Like, he's just hard to replicate, but it's not just, it's too dark as well. I mean, there's a lot of, like, your fellow countryman Verhoeven.
Yeah.
Like, he made a lot of color in the scenes as well, a lot of color and light. You know what I mean? It's not all dark. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think even though she's supposed to be difficult to work with, Sharon Stone I thought was good in the film as well with Schwarzenegger and Rachel Tickerton, who's with his wife, but. No, I think like what you're talking about there, the subtleties, like there's stuff like that. Some of that stuff that's like prophesized within any movie, they call them payoffs or plants or payoffs. You know, like, they're very good, but within the movie, like, you know what I mean. They're like there's a website on it. They show them. There's especially one in Back to the Future. Like they basically show you that, like what they try to do is they show you the whole movie in one scene at the start of the movie, and then as you go through the whole movie, you see everything. Like just one example, like the skateboards. You see that in the start of the movie, and that's used within the movie, you know. I mean, there's stuff as well. I mean, don't give too much away, like stuff about the clocks. I mean, it's all about time and clocks and time travel. But these are like funny little things, prophecies throughout the movie that are kind of forewarnings. Now they're good. They're good as well as kind of subtleties. You say with Heat there, Val Kilmer and his wife, you know. But,
I like those. And for instance. One of my favorite movies of all time is Braveheart, and my favorite scene in that is where the Black Knight takes off his mask and and Mel Gibson of Braveheart, William Wallace sees it's Robert the Bruce, and you can see just the betrayal in his eyes, and you feel you could feel it yourself. You feel, oh wow! I mean, to me that was the most violent movie, even though there was no the violent scene of the movie, even though there was no violence in it. It was just revealing who he was. but you could feel the pain of the character William Wallace, because he had been fighting for this man, and then he finds out it's the same man who betrayed him.
Yeah,
And betrayed because of his father wanted him to betray him. He reluctantly betrayed him, but yet the betrayal was there. I thought to me that made that movie. It's often not, because you can watch a movie for an hour and a half and it feels like 3 hours, because there's not any of those scenes in it, those subtle scenes, or kind of, I should say, what do you call them again? The
plans or payoffs.
Yeah, payoffs. Yeah. They're not in that, and an hour and a half might look 3 hours, but yet there's other movies then you watch for 3 hours and they only feel like 1 hour and a half, because there's all these subtle things in it, and so much is happening. I just love it.
See what I think, Tony, like there's Dirk, like Tony, our friend here as well, so Tony, our Taylor friend. But I mean, I see like you got to carefully make a movie. You got to carefully make it, like Hitchcock. I see him as more of a tailor than a director. He'd sit down with the screenwriter. They carefully try to visualize the film. You know what I mean? And talk about it. Like, I think there's too much rush. I mean, I know people want, to excite people. You know what I mean? Yeah. You do that as well. You have to entertain people, but you just have to like carefully make it as well. I think they're too much rushing around. Like I don't know, the Transformer movies. Like you saw big noise, bish bash, and I mean, well,
I liked the first one, because I was pleasantly surprised by the special effects of it, because I was thinking how is that going to work? Because I grew up with the cartoons, and I mean it's easy to do these things in the cartoons, but I think in a live action movie, how will they do that? So I like the special effects of that, and but after that they should have kept it with one movie, really. Yeah. But they cannibalized the whole franchise themselves. They did kind of. I think the last one, no one watched that. But I was going to say, yeah, but there's another director now, and he always, I think he has only done three movies. It's David Bowie's son, Duncan Jones. He did Moon and. Mine's gone blank. It's on the train.
Moon. That movie Moon was a big movie. Like even Mark Kermode's the guy I put up on the review show. Love the movie. Like he's made some more as well.
And the other one I love even more, but I forgot the title. It's On the Train with Jake Gyllenhaal, and I can't think of the title.
That's Source Code.
Source Code. That's the one. I even like that more than Moon, because they are in. No, I didn't like his last movie, but I can see why he tried it. It's Warcraft.
Oh right, yeah, based the game. But they say Dirk, none of those kind of computer game movies.
Exactly. Work. So yeah, I think he just wanted to try it, and it still looked okay, but it didn't work. It didn't work for me, and also because I don't know the game, so maybe it's different for games. But those two movies, Moon and Source Code, they are just great movies. They're
yeah, I like the actress in Source Code, Vera Farmiga.
Yeah,
she's great. Like I just liked her like in The Departed. I like her in, like, I don't know if you're watching some of these movies. She makes movies with this guy Patrick Wilson. What these kind of these horror movies? Some of these franchise horror movies. She'd be in, like, they're two detectives going around checking all these. Like not Annabelle, but some I forget them now. Like, but she's had one.
Conjunction, or how you call it?
Yeah, The Conjuring. Yeah,
The Conjuring. Yeah.
Yeah, myself and I must watch them now. Like I watched them, some of them. They're okay, like But she's done very well in the last like 15, 20 years. Like, so she's had a real good good career going for herself. She's in a lot of movies. Up in the Air with George Clooney as well, and she's good. Like, I mean, I liked her in the movie with The Departed, but she was DiCaprio and Matt Damon.
I love that. That's a great movie as well, though, The Departed. But that nearly could have been a Michael Mann movie. I know it's Scorsese, but that could have been.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. But like, what about, like, I know you've probably seen some Irish movies here, like, but we could talk about them, but sometime on later shows maybe. But what about like Dutch movies? Is there any kind of Dutch directors or Dutch? There's must be more than Paul Verhoeven, yeah.
There is, but I mean, Dutch movies, it's complicated. to be honest, there aren't that many great ones, really. They do good war movies, I have to say that. World War II movies, probably there's no other country that do them better than the Dutch. Black Book, but that's Paul Verhoeven again. Is a great movie. Soldier of Orange, and then there's the Banker of the Resistance. I forget now who directed it, but they're all kind of good movies. But in general, there's not that many good Dutch movies, I have to say. There's always, even with Paul Verhoeven, he's hit or miss, and lately it's been more miss than hit. It was one of the worst movies I've ever seen, and I hate that movie with a passion. It's Starship Troopers.
Starship Troopers.
I keep calling it Starship Troopers, but I didn't like it at all. And this Paul Verhoeven again, it's just, and I don't mind giving away the end of this movie where he goes to this big insect and holds his hand on him, and he has a serious look in the camera. He's afraid. So that's another movie, really. Why I didn't care what happened to any of them. I was actually rooting. I was rooting for the insects there.
I tell you something. Like, I mean, I've known some Indian people, and I kind of like the idea of like people kind of doing their own movies, not looking for kind of government funding. I mean, there's a lot of these countries, but he was telling some of the interviews that he wasn't getting government funding for the kind of movies he wanted to make. So he went, like, his wife persuaded him to go to Hollywood, and he made a movie called Flesh and Blood with his friend Rutger Hauer.
Yeah.
Then he must be a big star. I know he's gone now, like, but after that, then he went in a role. Then he was making like RoboCop and Basic Instinct and Total Recall. Like, he must have been a legend in Holland then. Like, he said, "Wow, this guy."
See, but I suppose it's a bit like in Irish. Once you make it, there's a bit of begrudgery there as well.
Yeah.
And especially when I think it was after RoboCop or something. It was a Total Recall. I think it was his first big success in Hollywood thing. And he came back then to the Netherlands for an interview on Dutch TV, and he put on this American accent while speaking Dutch. Like, I mean, I've been in Ireland for 20 odd years, and if I go home, I don't have I still have my Dutch accent like this. There's no Irish accent there, and he was there for just a blue moon. He was in Hollywood, and that annoyed a lot of people. It annoyed me quite a bit. I think a pretentious little, what. So I think that's why. Yeah, but he has a point with the funding. But then again, the Dutch are not that known for, even though we had several great actors and really like. But for making, but they all go abroad.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like, I mean, like, but like, I don't know if you've seen some of those movies in the 1970s. He made, like, these are big movies for him, like for your country too, like Turkish Delight and Spetters.
Yeah, none of them I liked.
No.
I mean, and this might sound a bit strange for me, from Dutchman, but sometimes there's something there can be too much of in the movie. I don't mind nudity at all whatsoever. But it has to fit in a story when it is a movie, and it was just, it's always put in there for the sake of it. I mean, if it's part of it, I don't care. But sometimes Petters, especially, it is for the sake of it. And even with a Turkish Delight, have you ever seen the movie? Have you seen?
No, I've only seen bits of it. Like, yeah.
From the first scene, you see Rutger Hauer playing with himself, like, and it's totally graphic. It's you see everything. I think, was there a need for it? No. They could have. To me, if that's a start of the movie, I thought it turns me off it already. Like. And then there's other things. So I didn't really like his Dutch movies per se. No, again, I did like Soldier of Orange. But again, that's a World War II movie, which is good. But I mean, there's quite a bit of nudity in that as well. But I mean, it fits in the movie. It doesn't take away from it. Once it takes away from it, I think, well, That's it. But the same with what we did later with Basic Instinct. Again, I love that movie. It's a great thriller, and I remember I was still in the Netherlands at the time. My wife and I were in the cinema, and this is still a time where you had a break, an intermission, where you could go out. Yeah. And after the intermission, saw this couple. They came back. They took their whatever coats and they left the cinema. They were so upset by this whole the sex in the movie, I suppose. But I thought, well, I mean, don't you read what the movie is about? Like, you know, if you why would you go into a movie if you don't know what it's about? Like, you know, so but yeah, but no, that's a movie I like. But then again, I think that's probably the last. To me, that's a good movie.
Well, Black Book then, like
Black Book, yeah.
You know what I mean? That's very good. Like, but,
and he did one later, a South African one, I think, also with Rutger Hauer in it, a South African family. I forget what it was, but that wasn't that good actually. It was a Dutch movie, but was based in South Africa.
Okay, yeah. Well, like, we'll just finish off with like what Michael Mann again. Like Michael Mann doesn't have much nudity in these movies. No, there's no much nudity or nothing like that in the movies. I don't see it in any of his movies really. Or there's no these kind of scenes in these movies at all. Michael Mann, you know.
No, not. I mean, there's no need for it. And I know Tony wants to see a bit of.
Yeah.
I mean, so but please keep your clothes on, Martin. Don't do it to him.
Yeah. That's it.
No, but in his movies, there's just because they speak for themselves in the storyline as well. Like, you know, I mean, so yeah. Again, so but
absolutely, yeah.
But that's what his movies are very atmospheric. And he likes the wide shots as well. Like, you know, it's very. It reminds me of a small bit of Jan de Bont kind of. He has this kind of same cinematography in it as well. Like, and I think he uses him for one or two movies. I use him. I'm not sure or not, but he likes a great cinematography, which I think.
That's our other famous Dutch director. He directed Speed as well. Speed.
Yeah.
He definitely.
Twister, I think it was.
Twister, yeah, and he was doing the camera and he was a cameraman or I think cinematography on Speed or one. Like he came along as well. I think like we'll finish up for this show anyway. Thanks for coming on the show, Dirk, and so, like we'll see what we do. Might get some Irish Dutch movie productions going soon. Okay.
Yeah. Well,
European financing.
I'm sure there are. I mean, I can play King. I can play King Billy.
King Billy, yeah, the Orange Man, yeah.
We go back in time.
William of Orange, yeah.
That's it.
Okay, so we'll finish up now. Okay, thanks, Dirk. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.